Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile, and this is the Shozy P20, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Linsoul Audio for providing the Shozy P20 for a review. To greatly appreciate it. Linsoul Audio, you rock. Alright, so the Shozy P20, this is going to set you back $140 from your bank account. It has a 14.5 millimeter planar driver, 30 ohms of impedance, and 105 decibels of sensitivity with a frequency response range of 5 Hz to 40 kilohertz. The Shozy P20 comes in this black box. You get a little bit of branding and nothing else. If you're pretty familiar with Shozy products, this is going to look rather normal. Take off the sleeve and you're greeted by a box that says Shozy on it, and the accessories on the inside are not really that spectacular. You get two types of silicone tips, and they look like this. So you get a pretty standard silicone narrow bore conical grape olive shaped tip. Those are the ones that I used. And then you also get a tip, if I can get the bag open here we go, a tip that is more shallow and wide bore. And I found that these tips were a little too shallow for my ears, and the P20 didn't fit me quite as well, and I didn't get as good of a seal, which led them to be a little bit on the harsher side up top, and the bass was a little bit sloppy and didn't have as much impact. So the conical ones fit me the best, and those are the ones that I used during this review. You also get this black Shozy carrying case, says Shozy on it. It's hard shell, and opening it up, you have a pocket up top and a big bed for the P20 to sit in. The case will fit well in a bag if you have cargo pants, something like that, and it'll protect the P20s very, very well. Speaking of the P20, they look like this. So the P20s have a all metal casing and shell, and they're a little bit on the heavy side, not too bad. They have a nice looking little faceplate. And then the angle of them is rather aggressive. And they have a pretty decent length of a nozzle. And there's a little bit of a wing design. I find that the P20 is well built, feels very sturdy and durable. And then if I can get the tip on here we go. They're rather comfortable. Now they are slightly on the bigger side and a little bit heavy, so they do snug in. They're borderline too big for my ears, but I can wear them. And then they snug right in, and you actually get rather good noise isolation with the P20. Probably somewhere about 66% of outside noises being blocked. The only things that you can hear are rather loud things: coffee grinders, vacuum cleaners, really loud vehicles. In order to carry on a conversation with somebody, you're going to have to pause your music and take them out. You're not really going to be able to carry on a conversation. And most other mundane things that you hear are going to be rather muffled, or you won't even hear them at all. These do a good job with that. I find them to be fairly comfortable. I can wear them for roughly about an hour and a half before I have to take them out and give myself a little bit of a break. The cable connects with 2-pin. The ear hooks are slightly loose. I do wish that they had just a little bit more tension in them. And then the cable itself is very, very nice. It's thin and very lightweight, but well controlled, does not twist up. The cinch doesn't really stay in place. It just kind of goes up and gets stuck, and then if it wobbles and jiggles around, it flops back down. And then from the split down, it's a nice light braid and terminates into a 4.4. You can also get this with 3.5. So I like the build of the P20. Feels very durable, looks nice, even if it is a little bit plain being all black. And it's rather comfortable. Find that the P20 is easy to drive. It has 30 ohms of impedance, 105 decibels of sensitivity, and pretty much anything will drive it. Had no issues whatsoever with any dongle that I used, DAPs or desktop. And it's not very picky when it comes to higher output impedance devices either. I did not get any hissing from those. And no issues whatsoever. Every single thing I tried it on, it worked. So, the P20. How's it sound? Well, the P20 sounds like a Shozy, but different. So Shozy has somewhat of a house sound. You get a little bit more of a robust, thicker mid bass and upper bass, a little bit warm in the bottom end. And then the mids have a natural, organic, lush sound to them. And the top end tends to be a little bit more laid back and sometimes on the darker side. And the soundstage usually is a little bit more cozy and almost intimate type of sounding with good depth and layering. The P20, on the other hand, it still sounds Shozy, but it's a little bit different. The bass of the P20 is extended nicely into the sub bass, and it has a nice rumble and grumble. There's there. You can really it connects with the music. The sub bass is alive, and then it has a deepness to it, and it's authoritative. And the mid bass is slightly elevated, and the upper bass is slightly elevated. It does bleed just a little bit into the lower mids, adding some body and a little bit of warmth. And there's nice control for the most part. It does get a little bit on the muddled side and a little bit confused on some really heavy bass tracks, especially in the mid bass and upper bass regions. But for the most part, it's well controlled. It has amazingly good tone and timbre and good details and resolution. Everything sounds proper in the bass, and it just drives it home. It's engaging, it's fun sounding, but yet at the same time, it's controlled and I would say maybe a little bit restrained in the fact that it doesn't go full on just fun factor. It does give you a little bit of that details and the resolution as well. And then the mids. The mids have a nice balanced, cohesive presentation. They're not too forward, they're not too far back, and they just play well, even though the bass is a little bit more energetic than they are. The bass at times can come across as a little bit lacking in energy, but it's never boring, and it's not neutral because it has some body to it, more body to it, and a little bit more thickness and a little heavier note weight. And it's just a little bit, at times it's lush, and then other times it's a little more smooth and engaging. It's just a very fun sounding and cohesive mid that's very musical. And I do wish, though, at times it would be a little bit more energetic and connecting to the music. Some songs, it'll come across as being a little bit as just going through the motions with a smile on their face. I just wish that I had a smile on his face and really meant it all of the time. Tone and timbre is very good, and then details and resolution also are very good. Treble. The treble is extended. There's nice air and space up top. And like the mids, at times it can lack just a little bit of energy and sparkle. It can be a little bit timid at times, and I wish that there was a little bit more bite and crispness to the treble. But for the most part, it's very natural sounding and has good tone and timbre, nice details and resolution. I just wish at times it would do a little bit of a little bit more connection to the music and give you a little bit more emotion. But for the most part, the bass, the mids, and the treble play very nicely. The bass is the star of the show, and then the mids and the treble play together very cohesively and very complementary to the bass and being a non-fatiguing, fun listen. Soundstage of the P20 is average width. It's not the widest sound presentation, but at the same time, it does a good job of showing you if something is small, medium, or large. You don't really get that big, grand, vastness of sound with the P20. It kind of keeps everything in check, and it does a good job, though, of showing differences in venues. The depth of the P20 is okay. It's not the deepest of stages, but you can see a few rows. And then imaging. Things track well across the stage. You can follow them. It's not the most precise and pinpoint, but it does a good job of saying, hey, it's right here. And it's a very small area that it's in. The layering of the P20 gets a little bogged down on complex tracks, especially in the bass. That upper bass and mid bass at times can be a little too thick, and it'll bog things down and slow it down a little too much. And they don't go into one note mode, but they kind of get a little bit muddled. Other than that, though, layering does a pretty good job. You can separate instruments and vocalists, and you can follow them through the tracks. Tone and timbre is very natural sounding and very accurate sounding. And then details and resolution. It's not the most detailed planar IEM, but it gives you enough. It's adequate for the details that you get throughout the bass, the mids, and the treble. And it resolves what it gives you very well. And it is very well controlled and very defined and focused, especially in the uppers. On tracks that have a lot of things going on in the treble and upper mids regions, the P20 does a good job of resolving those so it's not all smeary and glassy and glary sounding. It actually does a very good job of making the whole presentation very pleasurable. The only thing that I do kind of wish that the P20 did a little bit better of was connect with the mids and the treble, add in a little bit more energy, a little bit more sparkle, a little bit more bite and crispness. But other than that, the P20 is a fantastic sounding IEM that I truly do enjoy. How does the P20 compare to a couple other planar IEMs that I enjoy? So first up, we have the Tin Hifi P1 Max. Now the P1 Max is more neutral leaning. The P1 Max is more of a stage monitor type of presentation. The P1 Max is not as warm and thick in the bass, and the bass is not near as impactful. The mids don't quite have as much thickness and note weight. They are more accurate and true in that regard. And then the treble is a little bit more airy and slightly more energetic, and it has more control during busier tracks in the bass. The P1 Max does have a little bit deeper of a stage. You can look a little bit further in. Similar imaging capabilities, and then it is a more natural tone and timbre. It has a little bit better detail retrieval and similar resolution capabilities. P1 Max is more neutral and can be used as a stage monitor. P20 has a little bit more of a fun bass, isn't quite as neutral, and is more an everyday carry. And then we have the 7 Hz Timeless. Now the 7 Hz Timeless has similar bass extension. It's not as elevated in the mids and upper bass, and it's very similar in the mids, but has just a little bit more energy. And the treble has more energy, it has a little bit more bite and sparkle, but it's not as extended as the P20. The stage width of the Timeless and the P20 is very, very similar. And the Timeless is a little bit better layered, a little bit better detail retrieval and resolution. similar tone and timbre, and the note weight is a little bit thinner, and it's not near as thick sounding. The Timeless has a little bit more of a neutral lean with better details and resolution, and the P20 has a little bit more fun, especially in the bass. So overall, the Shozy P20. I didn't know what to expect when Linsoul shipped this to me, and from the first moment I listened to it, it was fun, and I really enjoyed it, and it was easy to drive, and it was just enjoyable with all my genres of music. And sure, there were moments that I wish that there was a little bit more of a connection and just a little bit more energy, but the Shozy P20, it's a fantastic planar IEM. If you like various types of planar IEMs and you want to try them all and $140 is in your budget, I recommend the Shozy P20. It's different, but it still is a Shozy. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and check out all the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you can contact channel, follow channel, support channel. All that kind of stuff is listed down below. Speaking of supporting my channel, I want to thank my supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you very much for all that you provide to the channel. I also want to thank you who have given one-time gifts. That is also much appreciated. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there's various ways that you can do that with one-time gifts through PayPal, Venmo, and YouTube has several options. And then if you want to support on a monthly basis, you can do that through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Using or subscribing to my monthly Patreon and YouTube memberships, you can get access to my private Discord server if you ask me. And then also you can get access to videos early and all kinds of other benefits. So check out the links down below if you're interested in supporting the channel. And lastly, don't forget to check out all the other links. There's all kinds of information like gear rankings and music recommendations and all kinds of other things. So check out the links down below. Lastly, don't forget to enjoy the music and that honesty is the best policy.